Yay. So this is our coaching call for the 24th of February, 2022. Can you imagine it's almost over? Like February is already gone. Oh my God, it goes so fast, Elizabeth. It goes so fast. We're going to be talking about the protocol today, but we're talking about the protocol schema. My favorite piece of the protocol. When I was a CRA, I had it printed out and laminated. That was my jam because that schema is that if you just looking at that protocol schema, you can know everything that's happening, every single thing, whether it's from the patients that are being, enrolled and, their visits, or it's data capturing, primary endpoints. It is like, yeah, it is absolutely important. And then today we're going to be talking about acting in a certain way in the sense of getting rich. So I always go over why we study the protocol is the Bible of our projects. It's our North Star. It is what directs us, right? It is, and a protocol might fit into a greater program, a greater, portfolio. And as CRAs, QA people, clinical research professionals who are on the ground, our goal is to ensure that the protocol is being adhered to and that there are not too many deviations. If there are deviations, we manage them properly. But so we're constantly anticipating, right? And we're also mitigating risks. So the protocol schema, I'm going to go right into sharing the protocol because that is, I mean, I can't speak about the protocol schema without sharing the protocol. It's just impossible. Here we go. Okay, so let's go. Where's my protocol schema? I think it was in the addendum or something. I think it was part of, here we go. Time events, table 5. There's something off with this today. Table 5. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, we'll just do it this way. I don't know what is going on with the hyperlinks in this document, but I should have been able to click on it to get there. And there's something wrong with my Adobe as well. Oh, hang on a second here. I'm just going to go this way. There's always a shortcut, right? Okay. Page 52. Where's my protocol schema? So we have the experimental sessions. Okay, just give me a second here. I had this. I saw the protocol schema. I did see it. Oh, here we go. I was like, I know it's here. Okay, perfect, good. Protocol schema, right? So this right here, I mean, for some other studies, it's organized a little bit differently. You have randomization. It's at the top, right? The study visit. So this thing, I highly recommend laminating it and having it at your side all the time. Because just by looking at this, you can tell what exactly is happening for every single period. Like here, you have screening visits. It tells you exactly what the duration is. It gives you a description of the events. For some other schemas, they are all different. They will have all the procedures up here, and then here is going to be what happens per procedure. As you know, everyone is different. But the most important thing is this is a snapshot look at everything that happens during the study. The interesting fact is that it is this that drives the whole clinical trial. The visits, everything is actually built from this. So we say we have a specific product that we want to test. How do we go about testing it, and how do we go about getting our primary endpoints? How do we prove safety? How do we prove efficacy, right? So we create this whole schema. This is what will happen when the patient gets screened. This is what happens when they're randomized. And do they need a washout period before they get screened? They're randomized, and then they get their study drug. They go to screening, randomization, maintenance phase, right? Screening, randomization in general, and this is for drug. Screening, randomization, maintenance phase, and then last visit. Okay, now for certain trials, as you know, we have cohorts, particularly for smaller companies that do not have a robust pipeline. They do not have any approved products. They're still doing like those phase two, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B type of thing. So they have different cohorts. And so many times this protocol schema will say, okay, for cohort one, we need maybe 3 patients. These are the things. It's the same thing. You screen them, enroll them, and then there is a stop typically when they get randomized. They go into several weeks to look at a bit of efficacy. And then we have our data monitoring meeting to determine if the trial can still continue, right? So every schema is always different. So the rule of thumb is we always want to know what kind of protocol that we are running and what phase it is. And then also the product. So for device products, it's typically they come in, they do screening, and then there's certain things typically like they have to wash out. There's certain things that have to happen, and then they come in and the product gets inserted into them, right? And then they go into their maintenance phase, and that's different because during the maintenance phase, they're not coming in to take additional product, right? Let's say I have an eye stent. Once that stuff gets planted, all I'm coming now is to do all the safety and efficacy procedures, right? Maybe they have to check, my intraocular pressure, IOP. They have to do certain eye exams, right, to see what's happening with the stent. Maybe they have to take certain pictures to make sure that the stent is in there, it's not moving. See, I'm not getting any blood clots. So that might be a little bit of the difference between drug and devices, right? But it is the exact same thing. We have for drug, we screen, we randomize, but then we typically keep giving them the product, right? Because we want to see, how long it would have efficacy. Devices, that's why I like devices, because once the thing goes in, it's okay. Let's see how much this device works, okay? And device studies, I've worked on a lot of devices, and I find them personally very easy. And because with devices, we're just wanting to see if the device cures whatever ailment. Does it help it? Does the stent alleviate, intraocular pressure? Does it help with glaucoma? Right? I mean, hey, simple. But with drug, it's a little bit tricky. We are like, okay, how much will the person receive for us to see some kind of result or some kind of, benefit, right? So that's really it. So yeah, so it's a very interesting thing. But this schema again will reflect that, and very, very detailed. It will give you when screening occurs, what happens during screening, when randomization occurs, what happens, what happens during the maintenance phase. And then a good schema will also have those little explanations at the bottom. This one is a little bit different. It will have like, some footnotes on it will expand on certain things, right? Say, for example, we are dosing, I'll just stick with the ophthalmology space because I'm already in there right now. Let's just say, we are taking a glaucoma, a drop that helps with eye pressure, like relieves eye pressure, or it helps with glaucoma. And they have to take it, at specific intervals during the day. Maybe it's a phase, it's a very early phase. They have to take the eye drop at, at 1, at 3, at 4, whatever, right? So, but then before taking the eye drop, there are certain procedures that have to occur. In this case, they're doing it at the clinical research site. Let's just say that. So it will tell you those little nuances, or you have to do a blood draw before you do blood pressure. So those are the things. So a good schema, one that is well written, should incorporate all those things in it. But I say this is the Bible. This is what I used to do as a CRA, Elizabeth. I would just go in, understand what the therapeutic space is, right? I mean, if I'm working on a schizophrenia study, I know that there's going to be a lot of rating scales. I know that bed and board to be involved. I know I'm probably going to work with psychiatrists, right? And then, so it's usually a dual type of thing. We have those, what do you call it? We have people in the CNS space. There's a lot there. They're caregivers. There's so many. If you're working on a schizophrenia project, there's so much involved. So I already know that. Then I understand a little bit about schizophrenia, or whether it's dementia or just one of those CNS type therapy products, right? And then I get a little bit of the clinical background, and then I immediately go to this protocol schema. That's what I typically do, because I want to know what exactly is involved. And then I go and start reading the rest of the protocol. Once I take a look at this, I know. The other thing that I also look at, by the way, another trick is read the informed consent. Because remember that the informed consent, that's the other good piece. I always say, this schema is in the informed consent. But the good part is that I read this way. When you read the informed consent always has basic language, right? Because we can't have any robust scientific language, a patient reading it. That's another tool that will help this protocol schema. If you read it, you're like, read the informed consent. It explains it. We're going to take 2 drops of blood. We're going to take, like literally 2 tablespoons of blood, right? It's so broken down there. And I've drafted quite a few informed consents as well. It goes to a very thorough review, because it has to be, I think in the US, I've forgotten, I think it's somebody in grade 1 or 2 should be able to read it. And that's pretty much what we go by. So that's the protocol schema. Elizabeth, you got it right. You want to laminate it. It's from here that everything flows. And of course, when you get those protocol amendments, these will also be altered. If it's something that has to do, with the, randomization, just major endpoints, this will also be updated. Okay. And good medical writers take care of all this stuff. I don't draft protocols. I contribute to the operations piece, because that's really what I do, because these are drafted by medical writers. They often have a medical background, and it's always well done. If there is, an update, they take care of that. The only thing that I found is that when projects are outsourced to a CRO, just be aware. I know that maybe CROs, you have power, but just be aware. If you're with a CRO and you're reading a protocol, and they are typically, if it was outsourced to them to write it and everything, sometimes there might be some a few questions that you might have. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. Okay, so that's the protocol schema. Again, it's the summary of, it's not even a summary, it's a breakdown of every single event that is patient related, right? This is what happens when the patient comes in for screening, because this is what runs a clinical trial. Without this, we don't have a clinical trial. Because this is the patient right here. This is all the paperwork and all the stuff that we do, and risk analysis, and this is what it boils down to. If this doesn't occur, then we're just a bunch of people running around. And that is the truth. Patients drive clinical trials, and there is a need more and more for patient-centric trials. A really great protocol writer takes into account not just the logistics or the of writing a protocol and incorporating all the procedures, but someone who writes a protocol and is aware of the nuances that are involved with a patient. Say, for example, we are doing an MS project, right? And we know very well that, maybe some of these patients might not be mobile or anything, right? And then you write a protocol where you have all these procedures occurring, and you don't give any leeway for change, right? You don't give any windows. So you do that, but you have to put yourself in the position of someone who is actually going through what your test, what the actually the disease that is actually being studied. And that's something that they're constantly talking about in this industry. I've had principal investigators who've written protocols, and they're incredible because they see those patients, right? Just imagine you write a protocol based on what actually happens, not based on what you're projecting to happen. So oftentimes the protocols that constantly get amendment, I mean, generally, the ones that constantly get amended are the ones that are not patient-centric. Now, if it's a new pipeline, it's understandable, the drug has not been approved yet. It's still going through, the R&D pipeline. It's a newbie, that's fine. But if you're looking at a product that has already basically gone through a whole pipeline, and maybe we're just testing it for other therapeutic areas, and then the protocol keeps getting amendment, that's always a red flag to me. I'm like, well, I guess this, the way that this was written, it didn't take into account the therapeutic area, or they didn't refer to previous protocols or projects and what the trends were. So short one today, our protocol schema, you get it, Elizabeth. It's your thing, laminate it, always have it handy. It's so easy. Something happens when you're monitoring this. I go, okay, randomization. This is what happens. That's what I do. So when I'm looking at my source documents, already I know this is what happens at randomization, right? So if something is not done, my mind already goes. So this is what I use. I just have it on the side and I go randomization, everything that should have been done, and it's really helpful. Now, some people use the source document checklist, is nice, but I typically do not, because what if something was left out of the source document checklist? So I just have this, and that's what I used to do. I'll just go in through it and go, okay, this is what should be happening. This is what we should see. Okay, that's it for the protocol schema. Any questions, Elizabeth, or any experiences that you've had with protocol schemas or protocol schedule or timing of events? I mean, there's so many different names for it.
For us, what we did actually, they were laminated and placed in every clinical room on the wall. So it's awesome. Just right in front of the clinician. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes. That's it. So, that's it, because this is it. This is the whole shebang. Now, from my side, the project management perspective, this is not the shebang for me, right? So it's a whole, so it's just looking at things in a different way. My shebang is the full scope of the whole project, budget. I mean, the whole thing. There's no piece that is more important than the other. But this, at a clinical research site, this is it. This is the most important document that you have that will help. So that is such a good practice that you guys have. It's fantastic. It's really good. Yep, I used to recommend that to my clinical research sites. Take out the schema, laminate it, put it. Yep, just have it there. Because that's the only, no matter what happens, so long as, and we actually would tell them to blow it up. We even used to create clinical trial materials where we have the schema all blown up for them. So you just roll it out. It's this massive laminated paper, and we have it there for you. And we have it, and then depending on, how many they want, then we would give it to them. So that's it. That's fantastic, Elizabeth. So let's go back to okay. We just got done with the schema. See, I didn't add anything because it's the protocol schema. You have to take a look at it. You know what it's about. And so now we're going to go into our Science of Getting Rich series, week 8, in a certain way. Okay. And so we're talking about tools that shape my success, because I say this on the Facebook Live all the time. My purpose is to get complex, incredible ideas, break them into bite-sized pieces, and then teach others. And what is that saying that I always say, that knowledge that is not shared is a disservice to humanity. I didn't hear from anywhere. That's my creation, because I've really thought about it. Nobody can live my life or your life the way that you're living, and nobody can have your experiences. You are the experiencer of your experiences, right? And the you that I'm talking about, as you've been listening to my Facebook videos, who's the you? It's not the seer. That you who's the experiencer is the seer. Not, I don't know what I was talking about earlier. So to back up the you, when we say the you, right, You are the one who's experiencing, but the actual things that are actually happening are not you. But here's the thing: those experiences that you're having, they're there so that the bigger you should grow, right? And so, and they're there so that you can take them, digest them at the level of the spirit. Because it's one thing, Elizabeth, as you know, I might have a horrible experience, right? And then I start sharing it with people to discourage them. People hear my story. I go on the Facebook Live and I complain. Isn't that what most people do, Elizabeth? You know, you go online, I go create that Facebook group for us to moan about how life is horrible. But there is, right? That's the norm out there. Go all the videos, people are busy complaining. The purpose is that we take whatever experience it is. Since I am my soul and I'm not that experience, it doesn't really matter what is before me. So my goal as a human being, not goal, my knowledge, my North Star, that what I'm meant to do, right? At least from my perspective, is to take whatever is happening, digest it not as a physical being, but look at it from the level of my soul, and then take that and share it with other people. Because if I have a horrible experience and I don't look at it that way, when I'm sharing it with people, what do I tell them? Be careful. Don't talk to so and so person because they are dangerous. Don't go to so and so place. But if I'm looking at it at the level of my soul, of my spirit, and then I might say, oh, this is what happened when I went to this. And but now I'm saying it didn't happen to me, I attracted it. Because right, I'm the creator of my world. Now it might seem harsh, but it doesn't matter what has happened in our lives. I say whatever is in our life right now, I embrace it and I take responsibility for it. It doesn't matter how it came about. At the end of the day, it's here, right? So who cares how it actually came about? But when I look at experiences from the level of I'm just going through this world, then everything is really horrible, right? I'm constantly being pulled around. But when I take that experience and I share it from the level of I am Elizabeth, this massive soul who is, you know, experiencing all these things, and then I'm looking and seeing how I can, use them to transform my life so that I can share with others. So that's it, right? And then we go back to thinkonomics. There's no economy but the economy of thought. Okay. And then we are studying riches, of course, on the level of the spirit. So last week, we talked about further use of the will, right? We had talked about use of the will in 6, then we continued how to further use of the will. It's not the will of going out there and forcing people to do things. It's willing your mind and your spirit to be in a certain way in the world, willing yourself to see your life in a completely different way, not dwelling on all the contrary, releasing the past, looking forward to your good, but all that happens within you. There is a saying that I heard from Tony Robbins, and he said, work on yourself privately, and it's all of this, right? And the world will reward you publicly. But we want to do the opposite. People go out there, make up stories, do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they think that they're going to get rewarded for it. The private work is what eventually gets you public reward, and that is the truth. Okay, so, and we talked about, the saying was that don't dwell on the occult, right? So we ended up with, wherever the spirits of the dead may be, they have their own work to do and their own problems to solve. I love that. Wherever they are, right? They got their own issues. It doesn't, so, well, the reason why I like this first sentence, Elizabeth, is because it doesn't matter what you believe, right? We're not negating anybody's beliefs. We say, fine, whatever you choose to believe, the dead people have their own issues. Doesn't matter what's going on, right? And we have no right to interfere with them. We cannot help them, and it is very doubtful whether they can help us. Okay? Or whether we have any right to trespass upon their time. Isn't it amazing the way he says it? If all of this is true, I mean, you have no business, trying to trespass on the time of the dead. Let the dead and the hereafter alone and solve your own problems. Get rich. Okay. So today we're going to talk about week 8, which is acting in a certain way. Oh, and I love this week because um, acting again is all internal. So we're talking about where you were. I mean, when I started getting this stuff, I have to tell you, Elizabeth, as you notice, I live and breathe this stuff because when I got it, my most of my life, I remember before I stumbled on all this information, I was really young. I always thought it's the world that you're trying to change. Can you imagine the amount of energy trying to change people? Now, whenever something happens, you know how it works, right? I just sit and go into my mind and I just breathe and I just breathe. There's something that I actually want you to write down before diving. This is something that I heard the other day and I loved it so much because it's a way to calm yourself. So, this is the phrase. The first thing is all is well. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Everything is working out for my highest good. Only good will come out of this. So only good will come out of this. I am safe. So I'm starting with this because it's something that will calm you down. So if you have a situation that is really like, oh my goodness, you know, those things that just take your breath away, it happens so quickly. And then you want to say that, or you can say, you know, like if maybe something is happening, your son is a little bit upset, just say, hey, dear, all is well. Everything is working out for your good. Only good will come out of this. You are safe. It doesn't mean if he understands it or not, but there's something, it helps your nervous system to calm down. Those 4 sentences. So, talking about that, Wallace D. Wattle says that we want to connect thought with personal action. The thought happens, right? I get an emotion about it, and then it affects the action that I'm taking. But we think it's the opposite. We think that we take action and then we get an emotion and then the thought. That is the thought. Everything is ruled by thought, right? By thought, you can cause the gold in the hearts of the mountains to be impelled toward you. But it will not mine itself, refine itself, coin itself into double eagles. That's the American coin. And come rolling along the road, seeking its way into your pocket. So, and Elizabeth, by the way, will behind. The slides will all be uploaded by the end of March or the next week. All these slides will be in there. So we're gonna resume. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we have to do. And you know, B has to edit it and all that stuff. So again, what he's saying is that we have to work on our thoughts, but it's the thought that's gonna drive the action. Okay, so if I sit right now, if I had sat and said, oh yeah, I want to create this company, you know, I've been in the clinical trials industry for a long time, you know, and I've learned all this success mindset. It's really helped me to get to a certain level. And I want to create all this stuff, but I never do anything, Elizabeth. I just keep saying, yeah, I want to create it, but I'm not willing to do the work. See, that's what happens a lot of times here in the West. I call it the comfort of, no. It's the Western malaise, existential angst. That's what I call it here, right? It's because when people have everything, I mean, you're born, you have, I mean, I'm a, you know, guest, right? I mean, I'm a citizen, but I'm a guest into this country. And so many times here, they're born and they don't want to take action. I've had people tell me the same story over and over. We all planned to create a business 10 years ago. They haven't done anything, right? And so the thing is, you have to connect. So you have to have the thought that is inspiring. All the things that I'm now working on to initiate for 2022 for Achaibo, these are things that they came through meditation, they came through inspiration. But think about this. What if I don't take any action on it? And nothing will happen, but the action comes from the inspired thought. And so the action taken now, it's clear action. It doesn't require, I mean, I'm busy, but it doesn't require a lot of like hard, grueling work, right? Because it's inspired action. It's something that came from my higher self. And again, this comes back to, remember how I said getting people more in use value than you take from them in cash value? If my only goal with this business outside of the consulting that I do was to make money, I will not be in it, right? Because it's not about the money is important, but it's about, and of course, then the money takes longer to come, because if the goal is to create something that's really going to help people, it's a whole different ballgame. So we live in a world where people want some now, right? You know, you just want to go take a bunch of action and go crazy, but they really do not have any plan. Then there are people who don't want to take any action. So it's two ways: crazy action, no thought, just to go out there and swindle and take a bunch of stuff from people. Then they're the ones who don't want to take action. Now he talks about forming a clear picture to receive ideas and hunches, then apply them. That's actually, I said this. Oh my goodness. Elizabeth, I want to tell you something. So I was on Amazon because I want to get a standing desk. I've had a desk where I typically stand, but it's lower. But I've been saying, oh, I have to get a standing desk that is adjustable. So I said to myself, I went on Amazon, I took a look at it, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. All of a sudden, one of the companies I'm consulting with, they've never done this. They're like, listen, Tengu, we have this thing where we've decided that we're going to be giving people a standing desk. Elizabeth, this just happened this week. And I said, what? They're like, yeah, go to Amazon, go pick out what you want. I left my sister a message. I said, this is crazy. It's like, I just said, yeah, I already was going to order it. It's going to be delivered next week. Yes, a big one. It's actually bigger than the one that I wanted. So I formed, I mean, just imagine that there's so many things in your life, Elizabeth, that happen that you don't even pay attention to. And so he says, don't project anything on others. Your only goal is to form. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, even when I speak on Sundays, it works. People have been leaving me messages, and even emailing me and saying, Tengu, what you're talking about, we don't have people who are talking about that. And I know that we don't, right? We don't have people who look like me, sound like me talking about this. I mean, not a lot. I mean, who actually are doing this, not just talking about it, right? So that's why I'm very passionate about it. And so when I got it, I said, this is incredible. I just said it'd be nice to have the desk, but I was going to buy it. And now it's being delivered to my door for free. So intelligent substance, I know Elizabeth Rami, it's insane. So intelligent substance is there to give us the things we want. But in my own life, like I always talk about, I know why when I face challenges, I know it's not so much the challenges are helping me to grow, but I've noticed how sometimes I doubt myself, right? I doubt things. Even when I got the inspiration to change from the webinars and go to a Facebook Live, it took me a while. And now the Facebook Live is getting more engagement than the webinars because obviously people are more on Facebook, right? I mean, it's easier for them. And sometimes to go register on a webinar, nobody has that, but everybody has a cell phone where they can watch something on Facebook. So that makes a difference. But it took me a while because I did not pay attention. So intelligent substance is there to give you what you want. You're not there to project it on others. You have your clear picture. But it's that openness, right? So last week when I was talking about just being in a place of receptivity, I really meant it, because many times, again, from past experience, I will block stuff, and it happens sometimes. It's not that the world, this universe is not giving me what I need. Is that every time that it gives me something, I block it because of my doubts, my fears, my anxieties. Oh, wow. I remember one of my mentors said many times we say, oh, how can this wonderful thing happen to me? She said, Tengu, you want to say, why should this wonderful thing not happen to me? Like, you want to flip it. Not how, why? It's normal for it to happen to you. Okay, so then this is the one that I love, Elizabeth. This is what is so interesting about this life. And I heard this from one of my other mentors, and I said I have to incorporate it in here because it's so important. Think about this. Since today you want to, as you're building your clinical research facility, right? You're saying that, hey, I've asked this university that I want to have a clinical research facility, but can you understand there's somebody right now who is praying that there is a clinical research facility in your area, right? So sometimes the thing that you're asking for might be the receiving of somebody else. Okay. When I go to the store or the market to go buy some papaya or pawpaw, like we say pawpaw, you say papaya. My asking is that I want to eat a delicious papaya. I want it to be so good. Red, the red ones are so good, with big black seeds in it. You slice it up, spray some lemon. See, that is my asking. But the person that I'm buying the papaya from, what is they're asking? They're asking that someone comes and buys it before it gets rotten, right, from their farms. So you see how it is. But sometimes we think that, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ask what I want, and it's just going to fly down from wherever. What you want is what somebody wants to receive, right? So I always have to remember that your asking might be their receiving, and your receiving might be their asking. You see that? So it's always two ways. Everything that we engage in, you taking these coaching courses, joining Achaibo, my asking was to attract people who really want to grow, and who want this type of information. And your asking was that you wanted to learn this kind of information. So it's all synergistic. Then we talk about you want to act now. So that's the thing that I'm learning. Let me tell you, when you have an idea, this is what I say. Sometimes it's difficult to act. So, for example, if you have an idea like, oh my goodness, I have to talk to this person, and maybe they're on call, they're not available, write it down. When you get an inspiration, I have stuff written everywhere. What's his name? Said he is always writing down stuff that when an idea comes, he has to put it down. Because how many times have you had some amazing idea and then you forget about it? So sometimes I literally have to jump out of the shower and type something up. I'm like, oh my goodness, because I get those hits in the shower. Let me tell you something. This whole Achaibo clinical platform was built in my shower. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. It's real. It's the hits in the shower. I get hits from meditation. As I get out of meditation, thoughts start flowing, and I just, I get those. But what? So it's always like in between. In the shower, when there was that silence, that I start getting ideas. So, but you want to act on them, and not necessarily jumping out of the shower and acting on it, but writing it down so that you remember. Okay. He says that if you act in the present with your mind on the future, your present action will be with a divided mind and will not be effective. I also like this. You're acting from the now, but you're bringing all your energies to the now, right? So if I'm acting on the now, whatever I'm focusing on, whatever I'm doing, whatever project that I'm being engaged in, if I'm doing this coaching and I'm not giving you everything, Elizabeth, not giving everybody everything they need, and my mind is wandering and thinking about other things, then it will never be effective. We are aware of the future, but we want to bring all our energies to the present. The other thing that I love about this is that we don't need to wait for the environment, for a new job, for any circumstances, right, to change, because it's my acting that's going to attract. And I always have to remind myself that you are attracting from the level of your vibration. Because I forget sometimes and I want to do something like, no, you're not going to do anything. If you've done everything that you can do today, then you let things go, but you don't have to change your environment, change your job to change the circumstances. If you do, it has to come from the thought, right? Say you're in the shower and like a thought comes out, hey, you know what? You're going to have to move eventually because of certain reasons. Then that is completely different. But it's not like, oh, I have to up and move right now because I'm expecting that over there will be better. And we all know that we take ourselves wherever we go, right? So, yeah. Now, hold to your vision. Do not be discouraged. Do not lament. Okay. So that's that's really what the key ideas are for today. It's the acting, the thinking. It all starts from me. It's called priming your mind, right? You're priming a pump. I'm priming my mind so that when I take action, it's inspired action in the world, and I take action with all the force of my energies. I don't have to postpone it. I don't have to, oh my goodness. Another thing is procrastination. This is what I've noticed. We always tend to procrastinate the things that don't bring us joy. When you love something, you don't say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. You want to do it now. That's what matters. Okay, Elizabeth. This is the quote for today, and it is long, and I think that you're going to like it. Okay. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of this universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. You visualize something, it's like an imprint. I visualize a new pair of shoes and over and over and over again, and then it makes a mark in this substance, right? And then the substance now morphs into that. It will give you ideas. It might have you call somebody up who can give you the shoe for free, right? Because I mean, there's so many things, but many times, once the thing is image on the substance, I start trying to figure out how it will come about, instead of knowing that I'm going to be giving some ideas that will actually cause it to take shape in my world. Man or woman can form things in this thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, so this is the second part, and this is so key. In order to do this, man must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. He must form a clear mental picture of the things he wants and hold this picture in his thoughts with the fixed purpose to get what he wants and the unwavering faith that he does get what he wants, closing his mind to all that may tend to shake his purpose, dim his vision, or quench his faith. So basically, we are creating, we're not competing. And for this to happen, once you have that clear picture and you hold this picture with the fixed purpose, which means that your purpose is so fixed, Elizabeth, with the fixed purpose to get what you want and the unwavering faith that you will get it. So that's the thing. I want something and then I just give up halfway because nothing has happened. But I haven't fixed it enough. I haven't fixed my purpose. I haven't had faith, right? And he says you have to close your mind to anything that's going to shake your purpose, dim the vision, and quenches the faith. This is what I like about it. So you don't want the vision to, you don't want somebody to, you know, you don't want anything to kick you off the path. You don't want anything to dim the vision. And by that, see your vision like this beautiful light, home that is on a hill with beautiful lights. And then what happens is that as you're moving towards it, anything that shakes you off your track, that it just becomes more blurry, right? And then quench your faith. That he may receive what he wants when it comes, man must act now upon the people and things in his present environment. This is a summary of everything that we've been talking about. That's it. This is it. First thing, you image it. The second thing is that you know that you're not competing with anybody. You're creative. I image it, and then I tell myself that I'm not competing with anybody. I'm creative. I hold the picture firmly in my mind with a fixed purpose. So, unwavering faith. So I'm focused. I have faith, and I do not allow anything to take me off the heart. It's not something in the future. I hold that image. And what he means, Elizabeth, is that, let me clarify, because I've read all his works. What he means is that when you hold it long, it just means that you're constantly acting like it's already happened. So I'm not seeing it like I'm going. I'm actually saying, what would the person who has rich thoughts, or who has lots of money, or who has a great business, or who who has a wonderful family, who has a loving husband, who has loving children, what would that person be like? Wouldn't they? I mean, you understand? So you act now means that you actually take on that feeling now, right? So you image it, and then at some point, because what starts is that we want something, it's out there, but many times it doesn't form. I always have to remind myself, it's who am I now? Am I the old person, right? Am I that person who was thinking the old thoughts, or am I the person who's thinking the new thoughts? So Neville Goddard really explains this really well. He says that, and we're going to be doing Goddard after this. I think you guys will love Neville Goddard. He's just incredible. So what he says is that what happens is that the thing that you want, you project it into the future. So you know that when you project something in the future, you go with it. When I close my eyes and see myself doing something 2-3 days from now, I'm actually there. It might be my thought, but I'm there, right? So he says that when you do that over and over and over, and you come back to the present where you are, right, the thing comes with you. And then the present now becomes that future. Elizabeth, you got it right. So I go into the future. I'm Elizabeth. I'm thinking, like you wanted to just do more with your life, and you want to do your project management thing, and you want more. So you keep going into the future, Elizabeth, because that's where you are. You're like, oh my goodness, that's where I want to go. But by doing that, the present Elizabeth must change if you keep doing over and over, because you're now thinking from the future, Elizabeth. And so you're bringing the future into the present, and the present now becomes the future. You got it right. It's not that I'm going to go get it in the future. Is that by imagining it, feeling it in the future, I bring it into my present, and the present becomes the future. That's how it works. And then the present becomes the future, right? Right? And then I do it again. So it's like a move. It's like I bring it here, I go there, right? So I'm there now, and then I go forward again, and I bring it there, and then I go there. You got it, Elizabeth? Okay, cool. So that's it for today. And we're going to talk about efficient action. You know this stuff. And Elizabeth, I repeat this stuff over and over again because it's important. Even on days when you don't like, you might even block it. And you know what I enjoy about you? Always writing. And I learned something the other day, and I always write stuff down, because when you hear something and you write it down, it sticks. It just, because there's just something about that, and that you're always so attentive. And so what we've discussed today is huge. It might not seem like it is, but the one thing that I know is that these ideas, they help you in moments that you're not even aware of. So once you have certain ideas in your mind about success and growth and transforming the way that you think, there are things that even happen in your life that you don't even know about, that are being resolved, that you're not even aware of, because we can't see everything, right? I mean, so it's not just that your life is moving forward, is that the challenges that you have, that you don't, challenges that were supposed to happen, they get resolved, and you don't even know, like, because right. Because you have this vibration of energy that is about growth, is about success, right? And so you're now like a walking vortex of possibility. That's what it is. So we're going to talk about efficient action, which comes from focused thinking. Inspired action is the key to success. Focused thinking plus inspired action is the key to success. That's what we are going to be talking about. So again, today we talked about the protocol, the schema. That's the that is the project from the patient and site perspective. And then of course we talked about acting in a certain way. And again, it's all summarized here, all in our thought. Okay, that's what it's about. We have the thought, we have the emotion, and then we take action, and we have to have a fixed purpose. So when I script, and I script every day, and I'm going to teach you my formula. So down the road, I'm actually going to do it on a Facebook Live. I've created a formula that I've been using that has really helped me. And it's M plus P plus B plus J plus S. That's what it is. And I'll tell you what it is. And sometimes I write it in actually plus V, plus V. The last one is V. The last one is V. You can guess. I do this every single day. This is the formula the minute I get up. Meditation, power. It's a power exercise. Could be, there's one that I'm currently doing where I breathe and I do quick affirmations. Okay, I think I missed one. Let me do it again, Elizabeth, and then you can tell me. I'll explain everything, and then so M is meditation, and then power, and then breath. So power is it's a whole exercise, like 3 sets that I do. I do gratitude. The first time I think of things I'm grateful for. The second time I channel energy. I say, oh, this is God goes before me to make my day wonderful. And then the third time is I think of 3 things that I want to do, right? And I act like I'm already doing them. So this is the whole, because I've been trying to figure out what is the formula. I've done this for years. What exactly do I do on a day-to-day basis, like every single day? So we have meditation, we did power. Power is, and then breath, any form of breath. This is my favorite form of breath because it balances out the left and the right brain, right hemisphere, and it's actually called Nadi Shosana. It's from the Yoga Sutras. They do it in yoga and all that stuff. And it's basically, you can actually Google it. You've probably seen it before. Like you close one side of your nostrils, you see that, and you inhale here. You close and you exhale on the other side. So it's an inhale, close, exhale. Yeah. This breath, if you're feeling low, if you feel tired, if you just do it, it is the best thing ever. And I do it every single day. So I have, but there are other kinds of breath you can do. You can just do, there's a breath called 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out. And you can do it while praying. You can say 4 breaths in, today is a great day. Exhale, whatever breath doesn't, even if you can make up something, Elizabeth, make up whatever. So meditation, power, breath, and then I have incantation. That's the one that I missed. Incantation for me, what I do is I do Invictus. I say it out loud and I say my mind is a center of divine operations. That's my incantation. Okay. And then journaling for me now is just, I record what I read because I actually, journaling is, I actually forgot. Before that, I actually studied. So that's, you can do that or not. But what I do is that I journal what's going on, what I just learned, whatever I learned the day before that morning. Right? Because this is what I do. I do meditation and then I read spiritual texts first. So it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. You can journal about anything. Journaling for me, I like to kind of, because I studied the Yoga Sutras and other books. I like to write what I studied, but journaling doesn't, that's why I didn't put study. So journaling. When I'm done journaling, then I do scripting. Journaling is just putting your thoughts down. Scripting is creating your day. You can script, then visualize, or visualize and script, doesn't matter. The last one is V, you can change it. But scripting, Elizabeth, is something that works. I've had days that I've scripted how my day will be, and I swear it. And you always want a good general. So I say something like, I write the date and I say, today was an amazing day, past tense. And I say, I got up in the morning, I felt so energized, my body felt so good. I felt lean, I felt fit. And sometimes I listen to just uplifting music while I'm doing that because, it's all about the state. Your state is very important, right? Then I journal, I say, an amazing day, my body felt good. I said I had the most amazing morning meditation. I felt so aligned to the divine. It was wonderful, wonderful day. And then I talk about how my morning, because I work out every day, how my workout was, my body felt alive, and it was just so great. And then I said, and I came back, had the most nutritious breakfast, shower, breakfast, and then wow, any goals that I have for that day, I say I accomplished all my goals for today. I say what it is. And then I talk about how my consulting clients are happy. I give more in use value and I take in cash value. Like today, it's the coaching call, how wonderful the coaching call was. And my students are happy. Their lives are transforming. And then I talk about abundance. I say, today is an amazing day. All my needs are supplied. But then I go even more generous. I'm so happy that things are always working out for me. Good comes out of everything. So I really do this every single day, Elizabeth. I've been doing it for years. Every single, I have actually have piles and piles of notepads. So I have a journal, and then I do this on my notepad. So that's the formula, and I'm going to teach it one of these days on Facebook Live. On Facebook Live, we're now going into, I want to teach the 8 limbs of yoga. That's the next group of things. So sorry, do you have any question, Elizabeth?
You've left out the F, and you've added I and S.
Yes, what is F? Where was F? Where was F?
F was next to V. The formula that you gave was M plus P plus B plus J plus F plus V.
Okay.
Then in the explanation, you gave M as meditation, P as power, B for J for journaling, V for visualization. Then you had incantation and scripting. Then the F is not, there is no F.
There's no F. F was for something. I think F is the focus in incantation. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna say I, because I have the formula more in the Sanskrit terms. So sometimes it's like, I had it written down more in my Sanskrit, dhyana, durga, pranayama. So that's how actually asana. So I actually had it written that way. So it's a little bit different. Yeah. So that is it. And you can do it. And I know what you could do. You can pick 3 every day. If it's too long, pick 3 and do every day. Say today, I'm going to do incantation. I'm going to do breath, and I'm going to do journaling. Tomorrow, it doesn't have to be all of it. I have time on my hands, right? So in the morning, I get up super early. So I have time, but you can pick any of them and you can even pick one and say every single day, I'm going to do meditation, or every single day, I'm going to journal. Really, you can pick one. You can do all, but when it comes to these things, I just go all the way. I can't help myself, because I love this stuff with Elizabeth, and I think maybe that's why people probably really enjoy, those Facebook Lives and this, because I actually do it. It's not like, sometimes you meet people, they're not doing it. They're just telling you something, but they're not practicing it. So everything that I do is stuff that works. I've seen it, it's worked, and I see the results, and I'm like, okay, good. I can actually tell people this. There's so many things that I've read that I don't talk about because it didn't work for me. Just did not work. So yeah. Okay. So you got it, Elizabeth. That's it. You can pick one, and just do it. And yeah. So
there are even some that I also practice. Like the breathing of 4 breath in, 4 breath out. I do that.
Perfect.
Journaling I do every day when I reach at my place of work. Then I do I say things are always working for me. However hard the situation is, however difficult the situation is, things are working for me. It's because God goes before me. Thank you, Father, for going before me. And I get and then I also say, today will be a wonderful day. God, give me the best out of today. You always give me the best out of the day. So today, please do the same.
Oh, Elizabeth, I got chills just hearing that. That's your incantation. So you see what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
You know what it is, though? There is something that right now when I say this, Elizabeth, it's going to help you so much. What I'm about to say right now will blow your mind. This is what is so amazing. When you say God goes before me, or today will be a great day, remember this. I know it's counterintuitive. We don't say it because we're trying to make something happen on that God hasn't gone before us. Hear what I'm saying. Let me back up. You're saying it to align yourself with the vibration of the God who's going before you. You see what I'm saying? And when I
Yes.
learned this, because sometimes I say stuff, I say, oh, today I'm going to go through today feeling wonderful and whatever. And then one of my mentors said, wait a minute. She said, say it. But Tengu, remember this, creation is finished. Creation is already finished. God has already gone before you. The day is already good. You are just saying it so that you are aligning yourself with that. And when she said it, it's like mercy and grace, right? What that means is that Elizabeth, is out of your hands. Your only job is to say that and feel it, and the rest will take care of itself. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
is the thing. Just always remember that you're saying it not so that it's gonna happen, but so that you can align with that day that has already happened. That is good. That is wonderful. Even when you journal, by the way, when you journal, and even when I script to create my day, I'm not creating the day. I'm aligning myself with the wonderful day that has already been created for me. That's all. So then it takes all that stress away from you. Because sometimes we think we are doing these things and things will happen. Things have already happened. There are different energies. There are just different vibrations and energies, but each one has its own. Like, how when you tune the radio, you want to listen to maybe a specific station. And you know how you tune and you tune, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I want to listen to. That's all what's happening. You're just tuning to listen to the right station that is matching what you're thinking.
Okay.
Creation is finished. It is. This, I don't know, this blew my mind when I heard this. And I just remembered it because then I just felt such a sense of relief, right? That I'm doing all these things, not so much because I'm creating it, but because I'm just aligning myself with a vibration that matches the things that I'm saying. That's all. You got it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Keep doing it, Elizabeth. That's all you're doing. You're just tuning to those vibrations because they're already there for you. They're already there. And the interesting part is that the wonders that goes before you, you can't even imagine. We cannot even imagine the wonderful things that have already been created. It's like it's like the blueprint is already there. But so long as we keep focusing on that blueprint, it must come to pass. I've seen it. After this COVID period was something. I think for even me. And going through it, I said, I'm not good. I said, out of this COVID, only the best will happen. And that's exactly what has happened. So I really believe in this. It works. And even when things happen, they're not as bad as they are because you're already vibrating. It's like Elizabeth is vibrating at this level, right? Very high level. Even when the challenges come, they can't be like the challenges of somebody who's in doom and gloom. You'll never have that. So I'm very proud of you. Keep going.
Thank you.
Yes, it's like we're chiseling away the old skin that no longer serves us, right? It's a peeling, called like an onion. You're peeling yourself so that you can reveal that real shiny core of who you are. But the interesting part is that not even so much a peeling. It's more of a release of the things that I have. It's like I took myself, there are all these wonderful things for me, but I went and hid in some dense caves. But right, two steps away, all the things are there, but I'm in the cave. So it's just getting out of the cave, giving yourself permission to be the person that you're meant to be. And nobody can take it away from you, Elizabeth. Nobody on this planet. Nobody can. Yep. So, yep. That's it.
Okay. A juicy one today.
I know, right? You know what? I
Yeah.
never know where it's going, but I know for a fact that I will be directed in the right direction. Like, I just know. And we're all in this together, Elizabeth. Every person is constantly growing and evolving, right? And my level of evolution cannot be compared to anybody. I have my level, Elizabeth has her level. No one level is better than another. We are all just growing and evolving, right? And there was this thing that Tony Robbins always says that, your challenge here is another man's paradise. In the Western countries, your challenge might be somebody else's paradise in another country. For real. You know, so enough with the complaining. Right? You know, I'm very careful these days because I've lived, you know, like you. I mean, I grew up in Africa. I've traveled the world, and I'm just careful because, you know, before I open my mouth and say something, I'm like, this thing that I'm complaining about, you know, for somebody else, you know, I might say, oh my goodness, you know, the water got turned off just for like 2 seconds because that never happens. I mean, have hardly ever. And I'm like, the places where there was no water at all, you go to the river with a bucket. So, or where they turn off water for 2 weeks. Yeah, until the mosquitoes have gathered. This is some personal experience, so I know. But you know, it's always interesting, isn't it, that we are blessed sometimes beyond what we can imagine. But that blessing, we're complaining about it when for somebody else, that's like just wow, you know. Yeah, so that's the deal. Wow, Elizabeth, this has been wonderful. I have like one meeting after another today, but this was really good, and I really appreciate you. And we are going to resume next week with a new lesson. I think we're almost done with the protocol. So I think we're almost done with the protocol, but we're going to be continuing with a new lesson next weekend. There's a lot more. There's so much coming this year. It's going to be so juicy.